Yo, what's going on, fellas? Welcome back to another video. It is March 17th when I'm filming this, which means the play-in games for March Madness start in about an hour and a half, actually. I think the first one is the UMBC game, which I believe they're going to pull that off against Howard. But I decided, I'm not really a basketball creator or do anything. I do football, Legos, fun things like that. But I decided I would, do a March Madness bracket, make a video out of it. So we're going to start off. I've already made one, but this one's like pre-YouTube. Obviously, I made one with my family, which this one's probably going to be very similar, But we're going to start off with easy matchups. I'm going to take Siena. No, I'm just kidding. Duke, I think, is going to win. I don't think that one will be crazy competitive. It's not going to be one of the... Duke's really good this year. I haven't watched a lot of basketball, but I have watched them, and I know that they ball out, I'm going to take Ohio State. I think TCU, that game will probably be one of the better of the first round, obviously, but I think Ohio State, their last game against Michigan looked really, competitive against Michigan, which Michigan had bad tournament play, it looked like, throughout most of it, but I'm going to say that they barely scraped past TCU. I'm going to take St. John's over Northern Iowa. Wouldn't surprise me if that's an upset, but I think St. John's, their defense is pretty good, so we're going to take them. And I'm going to take Kansas over CA Baptist. If that one's an upset, that one would be kind of funny. But then moving on, I'm taking South Florida over Louisville. Joseph Pinion, that's the guy you got to watch out for, man. He's gonna drain some threes in that game. Louisville, I think that they're okay, but they're easily beatable by a team that like South Florida, that if they have a lights out game, they'll do really well. I take Michigan State over North Dakota State. I don't think North Dakota State's that great, honestly. I think they just weaker conference, but who knows? I didn't watch a lot of their basketball, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take UCLA over UCF. I don't think UCF is gonna... I think UCLA is better, obviously. But, I think just in general, they have played better teams. So, I think that they're going to come out on top in that. I'll take UConn over Furman. Also, if you want to comment and tell me how wrong I am, go for it. I haven't watched that much basketball. I'm just kind of, in the heart. How I'm feeling. And so that's what we're looking at for the East so far. Moving on to the West. I know everyone thinks Long Island's going to pull it off. But I'm going to take Arizona. I'm not going to lie. Arizona's been really good this year. Their two losses they were close losses too, so I'm not I think that they could almost win the whole thing. I'm not going to lie. I got Utah State over Villanova. I do think Utah State's going to shock some people. I think everyone just assumes Villanova's good, so they're going to play good. But I'm going to take Utah State over that. I'm going to take Wisconsin over High Point. I think this is definitely one of those trap games. It could be a March Madness moment. High Point, it wouldn't surprise me if they come out on top in this one. But I think Wisconsin's going to come out on top. Arkansas, the only team I've watched almost every basketball game for. You've seen the shorts. I post those. Arkansas is going to beat Hawaii. I actually think either Texas or NCSU. I think either one of those teams beat BYU. I just don't feel like BYU's that great this year, but you never know. Gonzaga's going to beat Kennesaw State. I kind of have Missouri over Miami. I think this one is one of my bad picks, but I feel like Missouri will do a little bit better against Miami. Just randomly, I don't think that they make it past Purdue, who beats Queens in the second round, but we'll get to that point later, so... That's what the west side of the bracket looks like for now. Moving down to the south, I got Florida over... I think if Lehigh wins the play-in game, I think Florida versus Lehigh could be competitive. I'm going to take Iowa over Florida. Vanderbilt over McNeese. Could be a trap game. I actually got Troy as one of my bigger Cinderellas. I think they beat Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska's ever won a March Madness game, and I don't think they will this year. I just going with Troy, man. Sun Belt Conference. We got North Carolina over VCU. I'm going to take Illinois over Penn, which I know Penn didn't have dominant wins in the Ivies, at least in the conference championship or the championship bracket. So I don't think that they're going to be able to, unless that one dude who was from Duke balls out again. I think Illinois is going to pull that one out. I'm going to take St. Mary's over Texas A&M. I've seen Texas A&M play. Their defense is pretty all right, but I don't think they're going to beat St. Mary's personally. Houston over Idaho. Idaho's pretty good, but I don't think Houston's really good, Michigan over UMBC, because I'm thinking UMBC will beat Howard, but Howard's good, but either way, I don't think either one of those teams are beating Michigan. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to take Akron over Texas Tech. I know Texas Tech has beat, good teams, but, Akron, they're on a roll. Texas Tech has had some crazy losses. They've had a really tough schedule, but I think that Akron can pull that one off. I'm going to take Alabama over Hofstra. I think Miami of Ohio beats SMU. And I'm going to say Miami of Ohio somehow beats Tennessee. I know, it's just they're not good because they play in the MAC. But I think that they're really good in close games. Their one loss was, close. So I'm gonna give it to them. I think that they make it to at least the round of 32. Virginia over Wright State. And then Kentucky over Santa Clara. That one will probably be pretty close. And then Iowa State over Tennessee State. All right, so looking at those, that is the round of 32. Moving on into the round of 32 for the East. I'm going to take Duke over Ohio State. I don't think it might be close, but I don't know. I'm going to take St. John's over Kansas. Kansas has had some bad losses, and I think that they could get caught in a hole in this game, and it cost them big time. Michigan State over South Florida. I don't think that game will be close, but I think the Spartans come out on top. And then I have UCLA over UConn. I don't really believe in UConn this year, not like past years, I just don't think they're as good as they usually are. I'm going to take Arizona over Utah State, and then I'm going to take Arkansas over Wisconsin. That game might be the best game of the round of 32, besides maybe Duke and Ohio State, but Wisconsin versus Arkansas is going to be a really good game. I'm going to take Gonzaga winning in the round of 32 over Texas or NCSU. And then Purdue is going to beat Missouri. I know, basic-looking bracket so far. Nothing crazy. I forgot to pick Georgia versus St. Louis. This game, I'm really tempted to pick St. Louis, but I think Georgia will come out on top just barely. It wouldn't surprise me if St. Louis did, though. I'm going to take Florida over Iowa. Vanderbilt over Troy. North Carolina over Illinois for sure. Houston over St. Mary's. And then Iowa State over Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky's that good. I think they got a lucky draw in the first against Santa Clara. And they'll just kind of outplay them barely, but I don't think they can compete with Iowa State. And then Virginia is going to end the Miami, Ohio Redhawks season. So I'm going to just go ahead and pick. I don't think Virginia beats Iowa State. I don't know. I don't trust Virginia that much, personally. Akron versus Alabama. I'm going to take... That one's kind of rough. Akron's good, but Alabama's the top scoring offense in basketball at the moment. Or in the top 5, I know that. So Georgia versus Michigan. I'm going to take Michigan. I think that game will be pretty close. Not going to lie. All right, now into the Final Four. I'm going to take Duke over St. John's. That game will be pretty close, in my opinion. Michigan State versus UCLA. I do think this game will be pretty close. I'm actually going to take UCLA here. I know it's kind of crazy, but I think they can beat Michigan State. They played better teams to get here. Michigan State, they'll get past South Florida, but I do think Michigan State will. I don't think they'll be able to come up clutch in the Sweet 16. Purdue versus Gonzaga. Purdue versus Gonzaga. I think Purdue smacks, but I think they'll beat Gonzaga. Gonzaga is always they're good, but they're never that good kind of thing. I think Vanderbilt's actually going to beat Florida in this round. I do think they make it to the Elite Eight, which is crazy to say, but they already beat them in the SEC Championship. The regular season games, I think they were 1-1. It's a competitive matchup for sure, but I think Vanderbilt can come out on top in that one. I think Houston versus North Carolina is a good, going to be a pretty good game. I think this is very possible for North Carolina to come out on top against Houston, but I do think Houston's team is a little bit better, just by a little bit. I know record-wise North Carolina's not the greatest, but I think Houston will beat them. Iowa State already have beaten Virginia. Michigan versus Alabama. I do actually think Alabama will come out on top in this one. I don't think Michigan. They're good. I'm not gonna, obviously they're good, but I think that they've had a rough last few stretches of games, so I think that will cost them. I almost could see Georgia beating them, but I think Alabama, their offense will be really good, which they played not the best versus Ole Miss in the SEC bracket, so who knows? But I'm gonna take Alabama over Michigan. And then Arkansas versus Arizona. As much as I believe in Darius Acuff Jr., in my heart, I believe Arkansas can pull this off. But I'm going to take Arizona. I think that they'll kind of, I think it'll be closer than most people think, but I think Arizona will just kind of squeak by or blow them out. I don't think it'll be like one of those just like, oh, maybe games, but I don't know. Arkansas's game versus Florida where they lost by like 30 really scares me. So I think Arkansas will pull this one within reach, but Arizona's going to pull away with it for sure. And then looking at my Final Four, I got Duke versus UCLA, Arizona versus Purdue, and then Houston versus Vanderbilt, Iowa State versus Alabama. We're going to start down here for some reason. I'm going to take Houston over Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt will... I think even if it's Florida versus Houston, I think Houston beats them, personally. And I'm going to take Iowa State over Alabama. I think Alabama's run ends there, which I could honestly see Alabama beating Iowa State, but Iowa State's looked really dominant recently and throughout most of the season. So Duke versus UCLA, I'm going to take Duke, and then I'm going to take Arizona. And now listen. I know it's not much scary, but like these are the teams, like they've separated throughout the pact throughout the year. So I think this is kind of how it might look. I could see, like I said, like Alabama sliding in there. Obviously, Florida could slide in there over Houston, but like even UCLA, South Florida could make it to the Sweet 16. Michigan State could get in there. I mean, hell, I could see Arkansas if they beat Arizona. I think they could beat Iowa State too. So I could see them making like the championship game pretty much. But for just basicness, like even Wisconsin, if they beat Arkansas, can beat Arizona. St. John's, I don't know about them beating Duke, but this is what I'm going for. And then I think I had Duke winning in one bracket. Either way, I think Arizona beats Iowa State. This game will be really good if that's the case. Now Duke and Houston, I think Duke, man, I do. I think Duke to pull that off just barely. Houston, I think that they, like, if they win, it's, like, powered by the drive to win the Natty like they couldn't last year kind of thing. But it's a good team, but I think Duke will just, like, I think Duke will come in clutch over that. And then at this point, Arizona versus Duke, man, if Arizona, I picked Duke in my last bracket, so I think I'm going to go Duke again. I'm not going to lie. I know everyone's like, oh, Duke. It's Duke basketball. They're good. They're always good. Now, we're going to enter in... I already entered my one bracket into the other one, which is very similar to this one, so not much of a change. But I'm going to go with 177 points for the score. That's what I'm thinking. I think that's... It says I'm forgetting a game. I don't know how that would be. I don't know why it's saying that. Everything looks right to me. Oh, wait. Georgia versus UMBC. Oh, wait. No. Georgia over Michigan. There we go. That got messed up for some reason. But yeah, that's the bracket. Anyways, I just wanted to show that. I did not have 3 brackets made, but I have Duke winning the whole tournament. I got like South Florida, Troy. I got some upsets in there, but this is what my bracket's looking like. But in the end, go Hogs. I hope that they win it all, and they're going to upset everyone, so go Hogs. And thank you for watching this video, and that's my March Madness bracket. Comment down below how wrong you think I'll be. You never know. We'll see. Maybe if I get a perfect score, I can make another video about this. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Love you, boys. Peace out.